I had planned on doing a quick cleanup of this little scratch awl for Instagram, but after giving it a closer examination, I decided it had potential for an interesting video. This was a cheaply made, no-name tool, but I thought it had an appealing size and shape. I started by removing the ferrule. I was able to wiggle it off the handle without too much trouble. I left the steel shaft in the handle so I could use my drill press to help me sand the wood. I started off with 100 grit to remove any remaining finish and smooth out the deeper imperfections. Then I went over the handle with progressively finer grits. I finished up with some superfine steel wool. The wood handle had a nice grain pattern. After I was satisfied with the wood handle, I pulled it off the shaft. I finished the wood with Watco Danish oil. This stuff is probably my favorite wood finish. I put the shaft in my drill and used my belt sander to remove the patina and sharpen it. Then I polished the shaft with some extra fine Scotch-Brite. While it was still in the drill, I gave the shaft the flitz treatment. I used a couple of punches to work out the dimple in the ferrule. My little ball-peen hammer came in handy for reshaping the ferrule. I put some electrical tape on a small socket so that the ferrule fit tightly. Then I put the socket in my drill press. I started out with 150 grit and worked my way down to 600. Then I finished it off with Scotch-Brite. I cleaned up the inside of the ferrule with a small wire brush attachment on my Dremel. I decided this little awl needed some brass, so I heated the ferrule with my propane torch and used a brass wire brush to give it a brass coating. The ferrule was sitting on the same socket, but without the electrical tape. There was something about the size and shape of this little no-name scratch awl that appealed to me. Here is the finished product. I epoxied the shaft and ferrule back in place and applied a few coats of paste wax. I think the soft sheen of the Danish oil and wax finish on the wood handle goes well with the matte finish I achieved with the brass brush on the ferrule. The little scratch awl now has my 3 favorite materials: steel, wood, and brass, even if it is a faux brass. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Evaporust is running a contest on Instagram called Evapomadness 2020. I decided to enter 4 items. This auto wrench came out okay. I filed out the mushrooming on the lower jaw. The big challenge was making a new pin. I think my pin came out pretty well. I had to straighten the shaft and clean up the tip on this all-metal screwdriver. I found a maker's mark while cleaning it up. I think it is the Velcheck logo. Resto Rob helped me identify the maker of this curved handle adjustable wrench. Oswego Tool Company. The wrench's design is pretty interesting. I went over the top on this auto wrench. This baby got the full flitz treatment. Mrs. Magdad picked out the metallic teal paint.